I am out at the Desert Dairy in 29 Palms, just finishing up a 2-week residency. And usually I am an artist in Los Angeles. This is my second time at the Desert Dairy Residency, my second year. I had brought a piece to work on that I was currently working on back at my studio in Los Angeles. It's a triptych. I really thought of bringing that because it's eventually going to be out in the desert. I am always so compelled by the landscape when I'm out here that I always want to do landscapes. I'm working with things that I can see here. I haven't gone anywhere really off the premises to um, photograph anything else. There's a couple here that are just pure landscapes, which is the most difficult for me because I find landscapes really tough. I am generally a figurative painter, and when I'm looking at a landscape to paint it, it's kind of hard to grasp what it is that I want to paint, the forms. So I try to kind of really structure these plants, just make them more shapes. Um, the scrub here, and this one needs a little less green because it's not quite that green, although it's very pretty out here right now, very green. Um, it needs a little refinement, but just working on getting the texture more of the landscape. And then back to a little more of my comfort zone, I'm painting the buildings here, painting things. This is a trailer that's on the premises. It's just, I can see it right out the window here. What I'm really working on is the form and the values, trying to simplify the form and describe the values of the shadows that are cast and the shadows that are form shadows. This is a structure that, again, I can see outside the window here. Another artist uses this as his studio. And this is this beautiful barn, this structure that I'm actually working in right now. I'm over in here. And it's this gorgeous pink color that just is so beautifully set off against the tans and the ochres of the surrounding desert. And it also you capture a little bit of, on the metallic roof. There is some a really nice sort of grayish bluish tone. So I'm trying to kind of capture those colors without slavishly trying to duplicate them. The last year I was here, I had the same um, desire to paint the landscape or to try to capture the landscape in my work because, like I said before, I'm just so struck by the landscape here. I mean, I'm just in it. You walk out the door. It's just beautiful. And I think anybody would just be really, really wanting to capture something about that landscape. Last year, I was a little frustrated because I couldn't kind of find a way in to it. I tried different media. I tried working with oils, oils on paper. I tried doing just mixed media with water-based materials, acrylics, and chalk, pastels, charcoal, graphite. And then I also tried monoprints. I would say out of all of those, the monoprints were probably the most successful because they were the most abstracted, because I had the least amount of control. And so those are the ones that kind of stuck with me. At the same time, I still went back to my figurative work when I was back at the studio. And I I had not really incorporated what I took from here into my work. I worked on a year-long project, basically, and I was in the midst of it at the time that I came out last year. And I just continued on with that pretty much through the end of the year. This time, with this work, I tried a totally different approach to the work. I used a palette knife, which I never do, but what I liked about that was it all again gives me that lack of control. And so it's just layers and layers and refining the colors, refining the shapes, refining the values, and just moving the paint around. I use a brush sometimes on some of the, because the surface here is it's shiny, it's metal. So I used a brush on there, and I use a brush sometimes, um, for the foreground. But generally, it's with a palette knife, and I just keep going back in and refining and changing. And I love the lack of control of the palette knife, and I also love the textures. You can build up these really beautiful textures. I do plan to continue with this kind of work, and I'm gonna try more urban kind of landscapes when I'm back in LA. And I'm also going to use the same uh, spirit of the work and the same process with my figurative work.